The Oasis Forum, a coalition of Zambia's church, civil society, and legal institutions, convened a media briefing to address the recent appointment of the technical committee tasked with consulting citizens and drafting constitutional amendments. The Oasis Forum expressed deep reservations about the processes, citing four critical concerns: the composition of the technical committee lacking stakeholder representation, the absence of a legal framework governing the committee's operation, which is threatening its independence and transparency. The forum warned against tying the reform timeline to the 2026 general elections. They emphasized that constitutional reforms must serve democratic strengthening, not electoral expediency. Bill 7 still looms. Despite being declared unconstitutional, the bill remains before Parliament. The forum urged the formal withdrawal of Bill 7.
Oasis Forum, as I indicated, on the technical committee appointed by the President of the Republic of Zambia, His Excellency Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, which committee has been tasked to consult the people and draft amendments to the Constitution. The Oasis Forum, a consortium comprising the church, civil society, and the legal profession, principally the Council of Churches in Zambia, CCZ, the Evangelical Fellowship of Zambia, EFZ, the Law Association of Zambia, LAZ, the Non-Governmental Gender Organizations Coordinating Council, NGOCC, and the Zambia Conference of Catholic Bishops, ZCCB, has noted the announcement by the President, His Excellency Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, on the 7th of October 2025 regarding the appointment of a technical committee to consult the people and draft amendments to the Constitution of Zambia. As the Oasis Forum, we regard the appointment of a technical committee as a positive step in the country's long-standing constitutional reform agenda, especially that it follows the directive of the Constitutional Court in the matter of Munia Zulu and Celestine Mukandila versus the Attorney General of 2025, which nullified the initiation process of the Constitutional Amendment Bill number 7 of 2025. However, while the action appears progressive in spirit, it does not conform to the established and inclusive constitutional reform procedure that has traditionally guided previous processes. In this regard, the move, though acceptable in intent, falls short of the correct procedural path necessary to guarantee legitimacy and broad-based ownership of the outcome. The appointment of the technical committee in and of itself is therefore not sufficient to yield a legitimate, holistic constitutional reform process grounded in wide stakeholder consensus, unless urgent measures are taken to strengthen and safeguard the process. Citizens will recall that on the 23rd of June 2025, we, the Oasis Forum, launched the Coalition Against Bill 7, a nationwide crusade aimed at opposing the narrow, non-inclusive, and election-centered constitutional reform process then being pursued by the government. It is against that background that we now feel duty-bound to issue our position on the recently appointed technical committee and to highlight areas of concern to ensure that the current process avoids the pitfalls of Bill number 7 of 2025. What are our key concerns? There are four key concerns we want to highlight. The first one is that the appointment and composition of the technical committee is not stakeholder-based. Well, we acknowledge that members of the technical committee come from diverse backgrounds. We are concerned that they have or they were appointed in their individual capacities rather than as representatives of stakeholder institutions. There was no consultation with key stakeholders such as political parties, LAS, NGOCC, or organizations representing persons with disabilities insofar as we are aware. Without a representative mandate, it is unclear whose interest the committee members would be serving. We therefore call on His Excellency, the President, to rectify this anomaly by inviting nominations from key stakeholder institutions to ensure inclusivity and legitimacy. Number two, lack of legal framework governing the work of the technical committee. The appointment of the technical committee lacks a supporting legal framework to guarantee its operational independence and public accountability. The cited enabling constitutional provisions, being Articles 92(1), 92F, 92 sub-article 2F, and 92 sub-article 2J, primarily relate to executive functions and do not provide the autonomy required for a credible reform process. This creates the risk of executive influence over a process that should be citizen-driven. Equally concerning, terms of reference for the committee remain unknown to the public days after its appointment and subsequent swearing in of the members, raising genuine public transparency fears with the process. We therefore call upon government to enact a legal framework to guide and protect the work of the technical committee to ensure independence, transparency, and accountability. Number three, timeline must not be tied to the 2026 elections. The constitutional reform process must focus on strengthening democratic institutions and expanding the Bill of Rights, and not serving as a quick fix for electoral purposes. We therefore strongly urge that the timeline and roadmap of the technical committee's work not be linked to the 2026 general elections, as doing so would undermine inclusivity and national consensus. Fourth and final issue is that Bill 7 is dead and must not influence the current process. Bill number 7 is dead and must not influence the current process. The Constitutional Court, in the case of Munia Zulu and Celestine Kandila versus Attorney General, declared the initiation of Bill number 7 of 2025 unconstitutional and therefore a nullity. Despite this, Bill 7 remains before the National Assembly, though deferred, a situation that undermines public trust. We therefore call on government to formally withdraw Bill number 7 to demonstrate good faith. Any attempt to base consultations or draft amendments on the discredited bill would amount to resurrecting an illegitimate process and would erode public confidence critical in this process. In conclusion, the Oasis Forum wants to reaffirm its unwavering commitment to the promotion of constitutionalism, rule of law, and good governance, which are essential for Zambia's democratic advancement and the welfare of its citizens.
The coalition comprises of the Council of Churches in Zambia, Evangelical Fellowship of Zambia, Law Association of Zambia, Non-Governmental Gender Organizations Coordinating Council, and the Zambia Conference of Catholic Bishops.